Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Let's go ahead and start today's session. Thank you so much for waiting patiently. I was trying to see if as many of us can join today before I can start. So, Alhamdulillah, we have enough participation. So, let's go ahead and start. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلله فلا هادي له واشهد ان لا اله الا الله وحده لا شريك له واشهد ان محمدا عبده ورسوله يا ايها الذين امنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن الا وانتم مسلمون يا ايها الذين امنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم اعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني ويفقهوا قولي يا حي يا قيوم برحمتك أستغيث رب اغفر وارحم وأنت خير الراحمين أستغفر الله ربي من كل ذنب وأتوب إليه اللهم أجرني من النار اللهم أجرني من النار اللهم أجرني من النار. Dear brothers and sisters in Islam, we have covered just number 21 yesterday, and just a quick reflection back to our discussion. In just 21 through Surah Al-Ankabut, Surah Al-Rum, Surah Luqman, Surah Sajda, and Surah Ahzab, the part of the Surah Ahzab as well. So in this surah, we learned quite a lot of things, alhamdulillah, yesterday. We talked about in the detail that Salah is something that tanha anil munkar wal fahsh. So Salah stops us from the bad deeds and munkar and saying no to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Salah encourages us and keeps us on the good path, alhamdulillah. It keeps our heart so this is what the Salah does to us. And we know with the fact that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is highly recommending us to do what? To recite Quran as much as we can. And if we recite in Quran, what will happen is our hearts will be more engaged to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that's what we all should strive for. And then we know with the fact that everyone living today have to die one day. And if they have to die one day, which means they will be going to see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they will return to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So they have to do good, and as much as they can do good, they have to do good. That's what the Muslims are for. That's what Muslims have to do every time and all the times. Then we also learned yesterday that food is Allah's promise. And if you would remember, the example that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned yesterday was, have you seen any animals or birds carrying food or worrying about in the night that they will be struggling for food tonight? No, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala feed them and give them food. They don't need to start collecting the food or start worrying about food like human does. We collect food, we store food, we start storing items, money, everything to the extent. There was an Urdu saying that "Saman so baras ka hai, kal ki khabar nahi." We have stored the items of 100 years, but we don't know even if we'll be alive tomorrow or not. We also learned that Allah is always the good doers. Always the good doers.
Your wife said it.
We also learned about that yesterday, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala always is with the good doers. We learned about the monotheism and polytheism, that if people love one Allah, one God, or multiple gods, if that's what they do, and what's the situation if they do in each scenario like that. Everything belongs to Allah. Whatever I have, whatever you have, does belong to Allah. And if you would remember that Muslims are standard common practice, as soon as we heard about any life that depart this world, even from our own family or friends or anyone that we heard about, what we say inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Everything is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we'll go back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We learned yesterday that everything belongs to Allah. We need to pray Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We need to praise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in day and night. Our beds and our bodies should stay separate as much as we can. We need to stay up in the nights for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's where we will become favorite of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah made couples, and the couples give each other very convenience and the peace of mind and everything like that. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told in Surah Al-Kabut, in the following surahs, that give rights to the travelers, to the relatives, to the poor people. And if you are not in these situations, three of the situations, you have to give rights to every one of these people. That's your responsibility, that you have to do that. We also learned yesterday that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in the Quran that everything that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us is for the betterment of mankind. And if you doubt, I just want to have you a quick reflection back to the day one when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created Adam alayhi salam. Allah created Adam alayhi salam out of love and out of care, if I can say, for the lack of a better word, love and care. So when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created this body of Adam alayhi salam and grant ruh in the body, and this is where Shaitan comes in and they have big arguments and all that. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that he's going to be my Khalifa, my second, my naib in the earth and everything else. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created us for the love. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala definitely want our betterment of mankind. It's not just Muslims, it's not just non-Muslims, it's the mankind all across the board. Then we learned about Hazrat Luqman alayhi salam as a father. He was a wise man and advised his son a lot of good things. Here, if you would remember, I just want to do a quick memory test of all of you. I don't know how many of you would remember from yesterday, but if you would remember any of those advices that Luqman gave to his son, please feel free to write down in the chat. It will be something that I would really love to see, that if you would have remembered it. So in the chat section, please write down any of your favorite advices of Luqman Hazrat Luqman to his son. If you can write down, that would be great. And if you just quickly mention, there was first one was avoid the shirk. Thank Allah and thank parents for everything that you get from them, both of them. So Allah is right there. And then the second after Allah that take care of us are the parents. So we need to thank parents very regularly and frequently. Then we learned about behave well with the parents. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in the detail in Surah Luqman how mother sacrifice in her life for the children. Do good to the parents. Listen to the parents. The only exception you cannot listen to your parents is once your parents tell you to go against Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's the only exception that you can deny them or deny any relation. Because we know we have to say and accept that we love Allah and His Prophet more than anything else. That's our submission. That's what Muslim word mean. The next advice was pray regularly. And then the next advice was Amr bil Maruf wa Nahi anil Munkar. That you as a child have to do what? You have to tell the good deeds to the other Muslims and every Muslim, and you have to stop them from doing the bad deeds or bad habits. Being a Muslim, that's your responsibility. Being a good child, that's your responsibility. Within your own friend circle, if your friends ask you, let's get involved into the bad habits, it's your responsibility to stop yourself and them going into those habits. I know things are very attractive. I know I want to play Fortnite myself for all day, all night long. I want to play more games. I want to have more fun. I want to go golfing, or I want to do whatever. But I have to make sure that I do everything in a certain standard criteria. And being a Muslim, my criteria is Allah and His Rasul first. Then a balance between the world and the hereafter. So if I qualify those things, then I can have fun, sure. But that has to be in the limits. Amr bil Maruf wa Nahi anil Munkar. Again, we have to preach for good things and stop from the bad deeds. Even our friends, our family, our class fellows, our colleagues, whoever is that. And again, that has to be in the nice way. We should not become a part of the bad things. And the next one was don't be arrogant. And rather than you have to be like more of a humble and kind, rather than being very arrogant that I want it, period, done. No, that's not what we Muslims do. That's not what Hazrat Luqman advised to his son. The wise person says, be humble. Don't be arrogant. The next one was, وَلَا تَمْشِ فِي الْأَرْضِ مَرَحًا. May Allah protect us all. We know our children, what they do. If you stop them from something, they'll stop banging their heads, their feet, their hands, and they'll just go away from you with anger and tamsh, like with really strange kind of arrogance behavior. And they will show you attitude. And on the earth of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, these things are not allowed. And there was one more advice that Hazrat Luqman alayhi salam gave to his son. And then the last thing was in those pieces of that voice is that you have to walk and talk decent on this earth. You have to walk and talk decent on this earth. That's a very good criteria that you have to make sure. Walk and talk decently. You cannot be just like useless talking. Hey, yo, what does it mean? Is it an etiquette? Maybe it's a standard coming up future. I don't want to argue with that. But as of current norms, that's not a language that sounds like good. If it was a standard language, people would have started saying the same language in offices, in the Congress, in the libraries, in the schools and colleges, in the classrooms. We don't use this language in those areas. Yeah, outside of those areas, maybe it's a norm, but still not structured or known as a qualified language. So that if all the trees of this world and all the seas of this earth and the 7 more adds to that, and they'll start writing kalamas of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they will not be able to do it. They'll be all dry, and Allah's kalamas will not be finished. So that's our God. That's our Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's the supreme power we love and worship for. And again, I was talking to someone, and they said that if Allah is that powerful and He's that big and all these big things that you keep telling me, then who created Him? And the simple one sentence response was, if He was created by something or someone, then how He can be a God? That's a quality of Allah, that He have not been created by anyone else. That's why He is God. Moments prostrate to Allah and believe in His Rahman, which means they stay intact. They never get disappointed. They never get distressed. They never lose the hope from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's why the suicidal rate in Islam is very low, because we know that we have a supreme power that will come and help us. The good people, the moments, they have no ego. They're not arrogance. They are patient. They are humble. They have one heart, and in one heart there can be only one light, one message, one Allah. They cannot have 2 gods in their heart. Either they're Muslims or they're not Muslims. Period. Allah made it very clear yesterday in the message we learned in the Juzz 21. That tells me a very nice theory that I learned a while back, a small philosophy. I just want to touch for a couple of minutes, inshallah, not more than that. It talks about ishq majazi and ishq haqiqi. All right, so what is that? Ishq majaz is your love, or the extreme form of your love for this materialistic world, or for some individual or for someone. That's your ishq majazi. Like for your husband, for example, like for your children, for example, or for your big house or property or something. This is all materialistic. It comes towards ishq majazi. And then there's a ishq haqiqi. And haqiqi is the real love, the extreme love of the reality. That is in your heart, and that is only one, and that is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You may love 2 cars, 2 houses, 1 car, 1 house, multiple things like that, materialistically. But when it comes to the religion and your spiritual power and to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then there is only one option, and that is what? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the only one ishq haqiqi can be in your heart. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala want to keep Ahle Bath neat and sorry, I'm going super fast on this one, so skipping the topic. The last one was the test of the patience, that Allah will test your patience, that we will Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by multiple means, and we have to stay consistent. So this is where our revision of yesterday concludes in first 10 minutes, and inshallah now we're going towards just number 22nd. That consists of the continuation of Surah Al-Ahzab. We'll discuss about Surah As-Sabah, we'll discuss Surah Al-Fatir, and Surah Yasin. So these are the 4 surahs that we're going to touch today, inshallah. This just starts with the Azwaj Mutahhirat, and if you would remember, the second term I'm going to use here is Azwaj Mutahhirat and Ummahatul Mu'minin. These two terms are referencing to the wives of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They are azwaj mutahharat. They are neat and clean and pure wives. That's what it means. And they're ummahatul mu'minin. They're mothers of all of us. That's what the ummahatul mu'minin means. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about them in the start of it. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is advising them and telling them a few things. What are those things? Adopt taqwa. Don't talk nicely to na-mahram people. Okay, so which means what? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling them to not to be nice? Is that what it is mean? What do you think, all? Does it mean that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling to the wives of Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam that don't be nice when you talk to other people? Let me explain that. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling to the wives of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam that you cannot talk to the strangers. Na-mahram, stranger, anyone that is not in your blood relation. That's the stranger I mean. That anyone that's not in your first blood relation, that's na-mahram to you. Simple definition. I can go in more detail sometime, but simple definition is that anyone not in your first blood relation, a woman, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam's wives, are not to allow to them nicely in a manner that the someone else, that stranger, that na-mahram, not my blood relationship, can feel some misunderstanding that why is she nice to him. So that's what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala means, that don't talk nicely, mean talk to them with the flat expressions and talk to them only as needed. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling them, stay at home. Don't show off your preparedness and your jewelry, your makeup, your clothing, your body parts or something like that. Don't show off any. Recite salah, pay zakah, and obey only Allah and His Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling them, you will get the double reward for that. And Allah want Ahle Bayt. The Ahle Bayt are the people of the house of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, neat and clean and pure. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants them to stay the same. That's why this is special advice in the beginning of Juzz 27 for them. Some scholars say that even we Muslims are not in Ahle Bayt. We're not the family of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, but still we can have our women follow these directions, and this will lead them to save at least 70+% of the family crisis. They will be resolved if we simply can follow these ones. Then they're less 20 to 30% on the other things, that why you're not giving me food on time, or you're not preparing proper clothing for me, why you are not taking me outside. So women or husband, whatever they complain, but the scholars believe that 70% or more problems will be resolved between the family life if we just follow these guidelines that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guided to the women of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, to the wives of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And after that, ayah number 35, that especially I want to talk about quickly. That is an ayah that talks about some of the characteristics of you and I. It says, Innal Muslimina wal Muslimat. No doubt Muslim men and Muslim women. Wal Mu'minina wal Mu'minat. Mu'min men and Mu'min women. Wal Qanitina wal Qanitat. Obedient men and obedient women. Righteous men and was-sadiqina was-sadiqat, righteous men and righteous women. As-sabirina was-sabirat, patient men and patient women. Wal-khashi'ina wal-khashi'at, the men and women, those have the fears of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Wal-musaddiqina wal-musaddiqat, wal-sa'imina was-sa'imat, the people, those fast women and women. Wal-hafidina furujahum wal-hafizat, wal-zakirina Allah kasiran, wal-zakirati, a'adallahu lahum maghfiratan wa ajran azima. So it says that fasting men and women. It talks about the people, those guard their private body parts of the men and the women. So if they both protect their body parts, and the people men, those spend the money on the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and the women, those spend money on the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What will happen? These are the people, those believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and these are the people, those will get the maghfirah and great rewards from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So if you look at these qualities, I would strongly suggest, please take a note, open the ayah number 35 of Surah Al-Ahzab, And this one talks about al-Muslimin wal-Muslimat, submitter men and women, mu'minin wal-mu'minat, al-qanitin wal-qanitat, al-sadiqin wal-sadiqat, al-sabirin wal-sabirat, al-khashiin wal-khashiat, al-mutasaddiqin wal-mutasaddiqat, wal-sa'imin wal-sa'imat, wal-hafizin furujahum wal-hafizin wal-zakirin Allah kasiran wal-zakirati, adallahu lahum maghfiratum wa ajran azima, maghfiratam wa ajran azima. You will be forgiven, wa ajran azima, and then you will get azim, greatest rewards from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if you will be one of those people. Ayah 44 talks about Ya ayyuhan nabiyyu inna arsalnaka shahidan wa mubashiran wa nazira wa bi'iznihi wa sirajan munira wa bashiril mu'minina bi anna lahum min Allahi fadlan kabira. Witness and bringer of good tidings and warner. Ya ayyuhallazina, or Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, inna arsalnaka, no doubt we sent you as what? As a witness, as a bringer of the good tidings, and nazira, and the warner that gives the warnings. That's how we brought you in here. And you are the one who invites all of the people to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with Allah's order, bi'iznihi, with the orders of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Was sirajan, and these are the beautiful names of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam that we learned here. Was sirajan munira, he is illuminating lamp that shines really good. Come from you, Rasulullah, that's what you are. Give good tidings to the believers, and will have from Allah great bounty. So you, Rasulullah, are telling all of the people that these are the good tidings coming to you from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and you tell us all, and the people those listen to you will have the great bounties. So this is something we learn from Rasulullah sallallahu and about Rasulullah sallallahu, that a few of his names quickly here, that Ya Yuhan Nabi, that O Nabi, you are inna arsalnaka, we sent you as what? Shahidan, wa mubashiran, wa naziran, wa da'iyan, wa sirajan munira. So all of these names are, and the characteristics of Rasulullah sallallahu been mentioned in this ayah, that we need to learn and make sure that we follow some kind of same things as well. 55 talks about the etiquettes of the Bargahe Nabuwat, the court of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu in the presence of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu in front of Rasulullah sallallahu, that none of your action should hurt Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Being a Muslim, that's our responsibility, that we need to make sure that none of our action will hurt Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So we need to make sure that we do not do any action like that, which means what? How can I hurt Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam? He's not here. He had been hidden from this world for a long time. It's been 1400 years or plus, whatever. How can I hurt him? Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, if he will see any Muslim not following the path of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that will hurt him. That he don't want us to do it. He wants us, all human beings, actually, not only the Muslims, all human beings to come to the straight path. And this is the etiquette of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam's court in presence, that we do a few things, especially ayah 56 of Surah Al-Ahzab talks about that the greatest ayah that we talk in the respect of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The ayah number 56 especially talks about it. In Allah wa malaikatu, no doubt Allah and malaika, malaika means angels, yusalluna ala nabi ya ayyuhallazina amanu sallu alayhi wa sallimu taslima, which means that Allah and his malaikas, his angels, they say salam, they recite the rood on Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Ya ayyuhallazina amanu, oh who you people, those have accepted iman, sallu alayhi wa sallimu taslima, you also have to do the same thing. You have to say the rood and salam to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And this ayah actually brings a very long and good debate, that is Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam alive? If he's just hiding from this world, what happened? If he's listening to us or not? I'm not going in long debate at this time, but this is an opener for all of us. Let's go, and if you have any questions around that, open Quran, and let's learn from here, ayah number 56 and onward, that what is that message, what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us, that how I can say salam to the living being, or am I saying salam to non-living being? When I see you, when I say assalamu alaikum, when you see me, we say assalamu alaikum. When I'm not seeing each other, how we can say assalamu alaikum to each other. So ya ayyuhalladhina amanu sallu alayhi wa sallimu taslima. So this is what I think we need to remember, and let's do a little bit more research on this topic. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in ayah 59 talks about the parda, the hijab for women. The women, what is the hijab and parda means? And it talks about actually three different audiences right in this ayah number 59. It says, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, tell your wives, tell your daughters, and women of the believers, or the women of the beliefs, to bring down over themselves part of their outer garments. And some scholars says bring from the top of your head, some says from your shoulder down. The different descriptions for that. But bring down over themselves part of their outer garments. This is more suitable, that they will be known and not to be abused. Subhanallah. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling you that there is a hikmah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that I understand outside. I understand that you don't like to cover it in multiple cloths. You may not be comfortable to your body, but I'm telling you to do that for two reasons. So two logics are right here. There are more we know for sure. That you will be known that yes, they belong to a Muslim family. That's the first thing we know. And secondly, you are not to be abused, which means what? If we are in the curtains or in hijab or in parda, we will not be abused. What does it mean? In this society, in this culture, we have seen women. And I would say that is an exception. The women without hijab, how many incidents of being abused we hear every day from the stories, that a woman in the market was taken out for her bad sex purposes or something like that. I don't want to go in the detail of those words even, but if the woman was attracting a man, there's a more chance that they will do the bad things to them and they will be more abused. If they are covered and protected, the chances or the probability will go down. So again, this is just a logic that's mentioned in Quran. I'm just trying to translate that in good words. But again, it's at the end of the day, it's a choice of every individual human being. We as a husband, as a father, can recommend, can implement to a certain point, but we cannot force it to a point when someone, living human being, owner of their own will say no and we can make it yes. No, we cannot. We can recommend highly. We can tell them what is our desire and what is their responsibility to listen to me as a husband, for example, my wife or my children, or not. It's their call at the end. Then they will be responsible for their actions. So this is what it is, that our job is to convey the message that this is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling about the parda, the hijab for the women, women. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling that, and ever is Allah forgiving and merciful. Some scholars make this portion of the ayah as an excuse for not having, and some says, no, it's not an excuse. It says Allah will be forgiving and merciful if you will follow him. But again, it's a long debate. I don't want to go in that. Moving on further, ayah number 73, it was to that Allah may punish the hypocrites men and hypocrite women, and men and women who associates other with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and that Allah may accept repentance from the believing man and believing women. And ever is Allah forgiving and merciful. So this is the same end of this ayah ends the same way, that Allah is ever forgiving and merciful, and talks about the hypocrite people and women and men. Why I chose this ayah here to recite the translation for you is, I would highly recommend you go home whenever you find some few seconds. The ayah number, the 35, I believe it was, that we recited earlier from Surah Al-Ahzab, and this ayah that we just recited, ayah number 73. So 35 and 73, once you will open Quran and you will recite them, even in Arabic, your heart will get mesmerized with the way Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying the word after word in the sequence. Even if you don't understand the meaning, it simply puts some really nice feeling on your heart. So when I was deciding and preparing for this morning and later this afternoon, when I was reciting these ayahs, they have different impact. They're different impact completely. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Innal Muslimina wal Muslimat. Okay. Wal Mu'minina wal Mu'minat. Wal Qanitina wal Qanitat. Wal Sadiqina wal Sadiqat. الصابرين والصابرات والخاشئين والخاشعات والمتصدقين والمتصدقات والصائمين والصائمات والحافظين فروجهم والحافظات والذاكرين الله كثيرا والذاكرات أعد الله لهم مغفرة وأجرا عظيما. So if you recite these two ayahs, I would suggest that do 2 or 3 or 4 times. Open Quran, ayah number 35 of Surah Ahzab and 73. Open Quran and recite 3, 4, 5 times in the evening tonight. Today is an odd night of Ramadan. So try to open Quran and do that and see what are the bounties you can collect. What are the feelings you can collect. And if your heart and your eyes will have, I guarantee you that you will be for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and there'll be only one place for you, and that will be Jannah, inshallah. And Allah will be happy. And Allah will say, yeah, my man or my women or my people, those are accepting me and they're following me. They have done their job and they did good thank you to me. And now it's Allah's job to reverse them back. And Allah is the best shy. Allah is the best giver. When He sees that we're asking for something, it's like when you go and ask some rich person, he will not give you $1. He will give you more because he have more. He don't like to give like $1 out because he don't feel comfortable with that. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is way more giver. He don't like to give us small things. He want to give us big. So try asking it, and inshallah you will get it. That gives us an opportunity to enter into Surah As-Saba, which is a 34th surah. It's a Makkan surah with 6 rukus and 54 ayahs. It talks about the people of Saba. It talks about the life of Sulaiman alayhi salam and Dawood alayhi salam. In the ayah number 9, it tells it, enemies of the prophet will get punishment. Who are the enemies of Prophet? Those do not accept the message of Rasulullah. Those are the enemies. No matter if they have fight against Prophet or not, they're all enemies, and they will get the punishment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Ayah number 10 start talking about, and further down there, about Dawud alayhi salam and his miracles. He had mountains and birds, those worship with him, with Dawud alayhi salam, and his hands were made so strong that the iron was trying to melt and coming into shape in his hands automatically. So he was making war dresses of iron and different things because iron was so easy on his hands. On the other side, Sulaiman alayhi salam, he was sitting on a chair, and that chair will start with the air. That was the miracle that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave him. He had a miracle of a stream of copper. Imagine the copper was flowing in the stream. That was the miracle of him. Jinns were his followers. And if you would remember, there's a nice story I just want to touch quickly. I know we're running out of time. But a story I want to touch quickly about Sulaiman alayhi salam, that he ordered jinns to do constructions of different things. And they made a lot of big temples, big castles, if I can say that, big buildings and stuff like that. So Sulaiman will order them to do construction. And one day he ordered them to make a big house or big building. And Sulaiman alayhi salam was sitting with a stick in his hand, and his body was on it. And jinns were watching. It was a big room of glass maybe. So this is where Sulaiman alayhi salam was watching them sitting doing this. And while in the same position, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala took his life and soul away, and he departed this world. And jinns kept watching it for so long that he's still sitting there and watching us. They kept building the stuff, and the termite start eating the wood in his hand. And then after, when the wood was so weak, it fell down and so Sulaiman alayhi salam's body. And then jinns realized that he have left the world. This gives us a few quick messages here. One, the body of the prophets do not get destroyed. That's what I'm thinking, because if the termite ate in the whole stick, which means it was not a matter of a day or a minute, it was a matter of for weeks at least, if not months. So then the Prophet was still on that streak and his body was still intact. That jinns kept thinking that he's still sitting healthy and alive there. That's the one message we get. Second is that it's Allah's hikmah, and maybe it was only for Hazrat Sulaiman alayhi salam, that hikmah, that he wanted to get the jinns the job done before even Prophet Sulaiman alayhi salam departed the world. Wallahu alam, what's the reality? But what we learned here is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can do anything the way he wanted to. The miracles and everything does exist, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have created all of those. Ayah number 15 talks about the big, huge gardens of Sabah. And what happened at the end of the day, even they were rich, they were all destroyed by a big, huge flood. Ayah number 28 to 28 talks about the mushrikeen and their gods are helpless. So now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is smiling at them and laughing at them that, look, these people, and they're completely doing a useless thing, that even their gods are helpless. They can't do nothing for each other. And Rasuls are for all mankind. Remember, we learned the Allah's purpose is the betterment of mankind. That's something Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants. And that's what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created Adam alayhi salam and all of us, because he wants the betterment of us. And now he's saying that Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is for all mankind, and only lucky people accept the ummate ijabat. All right, just another term I'm introducing here. The ummah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam have two kinds of people, if we put them in a very broad, big category. One is the ummate ijabat, the people, those accept the message of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and then the ummate dawat, the people, dawat, those have not accepted the dawah of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and still waiting for acceptance. So there are only two kinds of the people. So now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling in this ayah that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is for all mankind, not only for Muslims, not only for Arabs, not only for Ajams, for every single human being. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam have been sent down to us so we can learn and be a good human being and better mankind, inshallah. So this gives us opportunity and conclusion here with, and moving on to Surah Al-Fatir. It's a 35 number surah, which means the originator. And sometimes it goes to the meaning of a malaika, the angels. It has 5 rukus and 45 verses. It says that angels have 2 and 2 wings and 4 and 4 wings, depending on how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make them for what purpose, but they have 2 and 4 wings. So we learn from this surah at the beginning. And Allah can open the doors of blessings to anyone, no matter if you're poor, if you're rich, if you're a good doer, or if you're a bad doer. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will grant you, will bless you at any time. If you're bad, you can be good. If you're good, you can be bad. Either way, I don't know. But for now, we know the blessings are that if you're poor, you can be rich. So anything that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants, he can do. And only thing we need to make sure is that we need to make sure that we understand the message of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and follow that accordingly. In ayah number 9, Allah says that Allah knows everything. He decided the length of the life as well. That what time is going to be the birth, what time is going to be the death. It's all decided and is written. And another word I'm going to introduce here is a taqdeer. Taqdeer means the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's written for me. What I'm going to do, what route I'm going to follow, what actions I'm going to do in my life, what steps I will be doing in my life. Will I be a good person or a bad person? Today, if I'll be sitting together with you or I will not be sitting together with you. What words and how I can explain them to you today, or what words I cannot explain them to you today, or this moment, or this second. How many breaths I'm taking, how many times I'm blinking my eye, how many times I'm moving my hands and fingers. Everything has been written in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's book, in taqdeer for me, for you as well. It can only change if Allah wish, and if you make dua. That's the only way you can have that change. So let's say I see that the path I'm going, it's a bridge, right? And the bridge have a big gap between the next place. I have no go back. I'm going straight. I'm clearly seeing I'm gonna fall down there. I don't have brakes on, for example. I don't have brakes on my car. Now I'm going there. I make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then in the taqdeer, it's written If he will choose to make dua, his car will jump and cross the bridge. And if he will not make a dua, he will fall down. So it's written in the taqdeer clearly, either or, either way. So that's the way taqdeer is written, and that's the way taqdeer works, and that's the way dua works. That it is written that if you will ask, that's how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will save you. Plan B and plan B, either or, can happen anything anytime. Taqdeer is another big topic of that needs a long debate and discussion, but I'll wrap up here and move on quickly further. Number 18 that talks about no one will come and share your burden at the day of judgment. All right, so you were living in this world, you're making dua or not, your taqdeer was written or not, you were given some choice and you were not given some choice, but you will be responsible for the choices you were given. And now you have a burden on your right shoulder for good deeds or left shoulder for the bad deeds. So whatever the burden you're bringing at the day of judgment, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, no one will come and share your burden, which means no one can take your good deeds, no one can take your bad deeds. Now you're in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you're standing there, and everyone will be responsible of their actions they have done. And the adopters of self-accountability and taqwa will get the benefit from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And others, وهو في عيشة راضية وأما من خفت موازينه فأمه هاوية. Remember, we know about that surah. وهو في عيشة راضية, the people those have their amal heavy, they will be on the good side, on the Jannah. But the other one will be on the Hashia side, on the bad side, on the loser side. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us all and put us all on the people those would love to carry our good burden, but not the bad burden on the day of judgment. And may Allah make us not the one that's looking for to give my bad burden to someone else on the day of judgment. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that we all don't even have the bad burden on us. Ameen, inshallah. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that, okay, so I told you this world and the taqdeer, bad deeds, and you're responsible and you're accountable. And now I'm telling you simple logic. A blind and a person with the vision cannot be equal. The darkness and the light cannot be equal. Zulumat and the nur cannot be equal. The shadow and sunshine cannot be equal. Deaf person and an alive person cannot be equal. So now you need to choose and understand that, do you understand the logic and does it make sense to you, and what you're going to choose, right or wrong? That's at the end of the day, that's your call. All right, ayah number 28 talks about the scholars, the people those have ilm, alim, and knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the religion. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about them, that these are the people those have the fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They do out of the fear and the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They're good doers and they try to do more good deeds and they try to do more than others. And if so these people are doing the good things, and mention of blessing in Jannah for ibadah sahilin. Those are people those have done the good deeds all the time. When they were scholars, they have a lot of big huge reward from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is the only place where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow you to compete with your brothers and sisters and Muslims and all of these people. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that don't compete. You cannot be a jealous or hasad or bughd. You cannot do with anyone for any reason. You cannot compete and fight for, I will get more than this person on something else. But this is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala recommend all of us to do, that what? The scholars, the knowledge, the religion, and the good deeds and doing good actions. That's what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is encouraging us all, that this is where the term came in this word called the healthy competition. So that is the healthy competition that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does permit, that this is where only one place where we allow competition between each other. Remember the story of Abu Bakr Siddiq radhiyallahu ta'ala anhu we talk about? Umar radhiyallahu ta'ala anhu bring a lot of stuff for Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam as a charity, and start sitting and waiting that today, Abu Bakr, I beat you. You can't bring this much. I'm gonna win. And Abu Bakr Siddiq radhiyallahu ta'ala anhu brought every single thing of their house and put it in front of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And Rasulullah asked, what you have in your house? He said, I left only the name of Allah and His Prophet. Was again on the top, And Umar radiallahu anhu accepted and said, Abu Bakr, I cannot beat you. You are always ahead of us. Alhamdulillah. So this is where we should strive to compete with each other in the good deeds and good habits and helping each other and performing more worship to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, learning more knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the religion of Islam. This is where the competition is completely allowed. Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal, when he was studying, he with a couple of class fellows actually. But again, I'm just wrapping up this and moving on further. Ayah number 41 talks about the earth and the skies are in their orbit. Open challenge from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. All right, the people those says that there's no God. All right, tell me. I fixed everything in the orbit. Right? I'm claiming I'm God, I'm Allah. You say that Allah does not exist. Then show me who can change the orbit. The way everything is running in its own systematic way, who can change it? No one can does it. But if Allah would like to change the orbit, no one else would be able to bring it back. How many thousands of years we know the history of this world? Have ever been moon caught the sun caught the earth caught the moon? Anything? Never happened. And it's an orbit that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala fixed. And it's a big, huge challenge for everyone that now you still would doubt and will not come to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You will still not do 5 time prayers. You will still not recite Quran. You will still not stay on the right path. You will still not do good deeds. You will still not be competing with each other in the good habits. What will stop you still? May Allah protect us all. Ayah 45 talks about Allah is not stopping their limits on their bad deeds. All right, subhanAllah. So look, the way the surah is structured and the information, he's warning you, he's telling you, he's stopping you, he's giving you the big sign and now saying, all right, I'm giving you a relaxation. I'm not giving you limitations. As far as you're allowed for a certain time, do whatever you want. I'm giving you relaxation for a specific time. And once the specified time is over, then you will see Allah and Allah will see you actually. Then Allah will see you actually. See me, Allah, and Allah protect us all that we may not be one of those people that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is referencing here in this ayah. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not extending our rope. Okay, keep doing bad things, keep doing bad things, and then he stretch all of a sudden. Have you seen how they do death sentence? They put a rope, right? They lose the rope and the person is standing comfortable, and then they just remove it and that rope gets so tied and then the body cannot even breathe for 1 second. That's what the death is, and that's what will tie the rope on us. The relaxation will be gone. What will happen? That's just an example of that. All right, this is where we wrap up our Surah Fatir as well, and we're getting towards the just a beginning at this initial session or period of Surah Yasin, and it's one of my favorite surahs as well. Alhamdulillah, I like to recite it quite a lot. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Yasin wal Quranil Hakim innaka laminal mursalin ala siratil mustaqim tanzilil azizir rahim litunzira qauman ma unzira aba'uhum fahum ghafilun. لقد حق القول على أكثرهم فهم لا يؤمنون إنا جعلنا في أعناقهم أغلالا فهي إلى الأذقان فهم مقمحون وجعلنا من بين أيديهم سدا ومن خلفهم سدا فأغشيناهم فهم لا يبصرون وسواء عليهم أنذرتهم أم لم تنذرهم لا يؤمنون إنما تنذر من اتبع الذكر وخشي الرحمن بالغيب فبشره بمغفرة وأجر كريم إنا نحن نحيي الموتى ونكتب ما قدموا وآثارهم وكل شيء أحصيناه في إمام مبين. So on and so on and so on. It's a beautiful way of how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us his words and deliver us the message. The surah starts with the haruf muqatti'at. If you would remember, the muqatti'at definition I gave you was the disconnected words, ya and sin, two letters. Some people believe it's a name of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and there is a hadith reference as well. We know from one of the hadiths from Ali radhiyallahu ta'ala anhu that he said that he listened Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam saying that verily God has named me by 7 names in the Quran, and that's a hadith from Ali radhiyallahu ta'ala anhu. It says that Muhammad is the first name that's mentioned in the 3rd chapter, 144th surah, 3rd chapter and 44th ayah, 33rd chapter and 40th ayah, 47th chapter and 2nd ayah, 48th surah of 29 ayah, That's the first name. The second name is Ahmad, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in the Quran. The third name is the Taha, that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam have mentioned with the name by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we talk about that Surah Taha already in 20th Surah. And then the Surah Yasin we're talking about today is the 36th Surah and the first ayah that we learned about. And then there's another word is a Muzammil, unwrapped. That's another name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then there is another one is that those who art covered, al-mudassir, that's another name of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And the servant of God means Abdullah, that's another name that's been mentioned. So these 7 names that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in the Quran of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So this is Yasin is one of the names of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and we believe that this is, if this hadith have been narrated and this is the correct hadith, inshallah, that we believe it's a correct one. This is the name of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This surah talks about the Quran is revealed, so ignorant can be called to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Ignorant are who? Those are not understanding the message of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or even if they're understanding, they're ignoring it. So now they get the final word of Quran in front of them and says, here is the Quran, it's revealed, and this is the message of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's for you ignorants, listen to it. Dawa makes hearts soften, and only people, those who will obey it, will be the people those have the fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Those are the only people those will accept the da'wah. And I kept telling you guys every day, you're all sitting here, about 10 of you here in the Zoom, and I don't know how many are on the YouTube at this time, maybe 5 or 8, I checked last time, 8, 5 maybe. So all of you are chosen by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to come and spend your time here to listen the dawah, because Allah make your heart soften. And then we need to do one more level, and now we need to follow the same message that we're learning together. Then we will be qualifying on this statement that dawah makes our heart soft, and for the people those fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us all amongst those love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I mean, and this is where the last message of this Surah Yasin I'm going to wrap up is that the prophets are the ones who do not ask any rewards or salary from you. And when I say prophets here, just want to mention a small quick message that we being Muslims, we are followers of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, we learned yesterday, is the last prophet that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has sent on this earth. There is no other prophet coming in this world anymore. So once we know this, that there's no prophet coming other than Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, now it's our responsibility, my responsibility, it's your responsibility to learn the message of Quran and share between us and the upcoming ummahs and the generations as well, in short words. So if that's the message and that's what we are, and we all don't ask for any reward, any worldly benefits, or any ishtahara, or means like, I don't want to get famous in this world by sharing this message. My whole purpose was that I wanted to learn, and I don't know, somehow, I mean, everyone is different. Some people learn by reading more and more silent and read in the night, some just reading, some just need isolation, some don't care even how they can do and learn it. The way I'm structured, I think, is that if I need to learn, I do better if I know that if I have to deliver to someone else, then I remember things more better. So then they impact me more better. So that was my way of learning. I thought maybe I will be learning and sharing so I can memorize these things better in my life, and I can share the knowledge with you all. And I'm not looking for any compensation from anyone else. I'm just looking for the happiness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will accept our effort of gathering here all together, just because I want Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to become happy from all of us, and consider us one of the people who are thanking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by joining this session, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, yes, we can do that, and we are your obedient people, inshallah. With the same note, I want to thank everyone for joining, and we'll do quick dua, and inshallah we'll wrap up in 1 minute or so. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin. As-salatu was-salamu alayka ya sayyidil anbiya wal mursalin. Allahumma anta salam wa minka salam wa aradta ya dhul jalali wal ikram. Rabbana zalamna anfusana wa lam taghfir lana wa tarhamna lanakunanna minal khasirin. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم ربنا اجعلنا مسلمين ولك من ذرياتنا أمة مسلمة لك وأرنا مناسكنا وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار ربنا أفرغ علينا صبرا وثبت أقدامنا وانصرنا على القوم الكافرين ربنا لا تؤاخذنا إن نسينا وأخطأنا ربنا ولا تحمل علينا إصرا كما حملته على الذين من قبلنا ربنا ولا تحملنا ما لا طاقة لنا به واعف عنا واغفر لنا وارحمنا أنت مولانا فانصرنا على القوم الكافرين ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب ربنا إنك جامع الناس ليوم لا ريب فيه إنك لا تخلف الميعاد ربنا إننا آمنا فاغفر لنا ذنوبنا وقنا عذاب النار ربنا آمنا بما أنزلت واتبعنا الرسول فاكتبنا مع الشاهدين ربنا اغفر لنا ذنوبنا وإسرافنا في أمرنا وثبت أقدامنا وانصرنا على القوم الكافرين ربنا ما خلقت هذا باطلا سبحانك فقنا عذاب النار ربنا إنك من تدخل النار فقد أخزيته وما للظالمين من أنصار ربنا إننا سمعنا مناديا ينادي للإيمان أن آمنوا بربكم فآمنا ربنا فاغفر لنا ذنوبنا وكفر عنا سيئاتنا وتوفنا مع الأبرار ربنا وآتنا ما وعدتنا على رسلك ولا تخزنا يوم القيامة إنك لا تخلف الميعاد ربنا آمنا فاكتبنا مع الشاهدين ربنا أنزل علينا مائدة من السماء تكون لنا عيدا لأولنا وآخرنا وآية منك وارزقنا وأنت خير الرازقين ربنا ظلمنا أنفسنا وإن لم تغفر لنا وترحمنا لنكونن من الخاسرين ربنا لا تجعلنا مع القوم الظالمين ربنا أفرغ علينا صبرا وتوفنا مسلمين ربنا افتح بيننا وبين قومنا بالحق وأنت خير الفاتحين ربنا لا تجعلنا فتنة لقوم الظالمين ونجنا برحمتك من القوم الكافرين ربنا إنك تعلم ما نخفي وما نعلن وما يخفى على الله من شيء في الأرض ولا في السماء ربنا اغفر لي ولوالدي وللمؤمنين يوم يقوم الحساب ربنا وتقبل دعاء برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين آمين يا رب العالمين جزاكم الله خير everyone. Please remember us in the duas. Tonight is one of the odd nights. Please don't forget to do worship as much as you can tonight. And please don't forget to remember me in your duas as well. Assalamu alaikum, everyone.